Welcome to New Jersey Motorsports Park here in Millville, New Jersey for our championship round of this 2024 10th anniversary MotoAmerica season. It is Superbikes at New Jersey here this weekend, but right now it is time for Stock 1000 and the final race of what has been a 5-round, 10-race championship season. It all comes down to this final race of the season. We have watched Jason Uribe there aboard the 360 battle it out all season long, returning to MotoAmerica full-time this year to go up against the likes of Hayden Gillim. Welcome into the broadcast booth. I'm Jamie Howe, joined by Roger Hayden. We talk about those two still going for this championship title, but now Hayden has a 12-point lead going into the final race.
Yeah, with Hayden now with 12 points, he's not forced to have to win this race. So, if Jason gets out there and puts a really hot pace, then Hayden can kind of back it down and take second. But Hayden is going to want to go out there and go for the win. We've been watching this championship all year. Now it finally comes down to the last race.
Hayden came out yesterday in race number 1. Even with the point lead that he did have, he wanted to win. Take a look at these highlights.
And for Hayden, a good move of this team. They went to slicks early in qualifying. He was able to get pole position. Danilo Lewis, though. Jason Waters also great qualifying. You see Hayden trying to make moves early, knows Jason didn't qualify very well, so he wants to try to get out early, makes the move to Danilo into turn 4. Benjamin Smith and Ashton Yates got together down into turn 7 and 8. They ran off the track. Ashton way off the track. You see Jason now making his move into second. Hayden Gillim's a couple seconds out in front of him. You see Benjamin Smith now recovering from that off-track excursion, making a move on Danilo Lewis, but you can see Jason's able to close the gap. Then Hayden has a huge moment out of the last corner. Somehow he was able to save it, but he lost the lead to Jason. Now he's the one in second and following Jason right there. Last lap, last corner, last effort. Hayden was able to make the move, make it stick, and get the run to the flag as well.
It was a tremendous save by Hayden Gillim and an incredible regrouping for him on those closing laps to be able to get his 6th win of the season, 7 podium finishes. Put it into perspective with the fact that this is only a 10-race championship, and he has just been able to dominate. You see the two different mentalities out here on the grid. For Hayden Gillim, you see on the number 1 bike, he has that 12-point lead. There on the right-hand side of your screen is Jason Uribe aboard that number 360. He's been able to win twice this season, 6 podium finishes. Just that consistency has him still in the hunt, fighting for a title. 12 points back. You see Ashton Yates sitting in 3rd, and then Benjamin Smith right there in 4th. 3rd member of our broadcast team here for this weekend, Joe Ankier, down there on the grid in the middle of everything. Good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon, Jamie. What a race we have ahead. So this championship is all going to get tied up in just a few moments' time. Now out on the grid, we have over here Orange Cat Racing's Jason Uribe, 8th on the grid, but that didn't faze him yesterday. We saw how well he did. What a race from you, Jason, yesterday. It all came down to the final turn, and then the checkered flag didn't faze you. How confident are you that you can do something like that again? A big task ahead.
Honestly, I'm really excited for this last race. We've put a lot of work into getting to this point all year. Like I said yesterday, we got off to a bit of a slow start, me just learning how to ride the bike, but over every round we've just gotten better and better, and I'm feeling really confident with the package that Orange Cat has given me, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I'm going to really focus on my start today. We'll see how the conditions play out and just take it corner by corner.
12 points. Do you believe you can do it?
Anything's possible.
Indeed it is. Well, we hope to see some more great racing like we saw yesterday from Jason. Let's move it over to 7th on the grid. Ben Smith, Flow for Law, who is tied for 3rd place, 120 points apiece. What a race you have ahead. A tied position between you and Ashton Yates. How different does this one feel?
Honestly, we're just going to treat it as any other race. Like I've said, just get a good start. I got a couple guys to work through, and again, I feel like I have a decent pace. I just need to keep my head down, stay calm, and just make the moves when I can, play it smart. And I can't thank the whole team enough for the effort that they put in this year. It's great that we have the opportunity to battle for 3rd in the championship. So let's just have some fun.
Excellent. Best of luck out there. Ben Smith, who took a 3rd place in race 1 yesterday off of that 4th position on the grid. Let's move it down to Ashton, who is his rival for that 3rd spot. Ashton Yates and Ben Smith tied for 3rd. Now, Ashton, have you made any changes to the bike overnight to help you get in that position you need?
Yeah, we made a small change this morning. and a tire compound change. So feeling pretty confident with those changes, and we'll just try to get this race started off air-free today. Yesterday I had an off-track excursion, not really my fault, but it's racing. So, but today we'll try to start off a little cleaner.
Start off a little cleaner, a different strategy there from Ashton Yates, who was 4th in the race yesterday. Let's go over to our pole sitter, Hayden Gillam. He is the man who should be relaxed, but he's going for his 2nd championship in a row, the reigning Stock 1000 champion. Hayden, first of all, what would it mean to you to win this again?
I mean, it would definitely mean a lot. It's just, we're just gonna have to see what happens. Hopefully get another good start like yesterday, and yeah, we'll see. It's misting a little bit right now, so whether that picks up, gets a little heavier, stays light, you know, we'll just have to see. And yeah, just getting the win yesterday definitely saved myself a little bit of stress today, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
12 points there in that lead for Hayden Gillam. He mentioned the rain. He said he does like riding in the rain, and he's been riding well in the rain all week. So 12 points at the top. Jason Uribe back in 8th. Let's see if he can do what he did yesterday. What an exciting race it was for us all around. And some great positions to be fought for further down as well. Bryce Prince, Richard Kerr, Danilo Lewis, all fighting for those single-digit positions. Well, we've heard the bell. That means that the bikes are almost ready. It's almost time to go for the final race of the Stock 1000 Championship. Back to you, Jamie.
Thank you, Joe. Great to have all of that access out there on the grid, be able to hear from the riders. Just before those helmets go on, one interesting point that Hayden Gillam just made there, Roger, is the fact that it's starting to mist a little bit. Race Control has declared this a dry race yesterday. In race number 1, that was the first dry session for the Stock 1000 riders. Yeah,
and for Hayden, you definitely don't want to see that mist on your visor, because you just want a dry race. You want it to go off and just nothing happen, and where no other mistake where you get to deal with that. It's one more thing you have to worry about. And for Jason Uribe, he probably wants a little wet, a little something to throw a curveball in there that might be able to help him out. You know, Hayden says he's a little bit stress-free today compared to what would happen if he got second. But as a rider, you're still always thinking about, you know, something could happen to the bike. I could get caught up in somebody else's mistake. So still the tension's pretty high.
Benjamin Smith there having 5 podium finishes this season. It's a big day for him to try and lock up 3rd place in this Stock 1000 championship. I loved also that comment from Jason Uribe that it's been a lot of work, not just this weekend, but it's all year, and calling this an opportunity today. Yeah, to go out and get a win, and if it doesn't end up the championship, go out on a win. But with Jason, him and that team, Orange Cat, they should be proud of the season that they've put together. I think it's been a bit of a surprise to see him come out there and fight for the championship, and he has brought it every single weekend. Returning to full-time competition for the first time this season, Jason Uribe knew he had some work to do in terms of getting himself back up to speed, and he has certainly done that. Bikes are now rolling for this warm-up lap. The next time they find their grid positions, it'll be time to race.
MotoAmerica Stock 1000 coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
As the bikes are still circulating here, take us around a lap of Thunderbolt at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Yeah, this is a small track, especially in the Stock 1000s, down into turn 1, really good passing zone through the chicane. Turn 4, really fast kink into turn 5, another long, nice passing zone. Then turn 6 into 7 and 8, really long right-hander. Turn 10 starts that run all the way through turn 12, where we've seen Hayden make the move for the win yesterday onto the front straightaway. Freshly repaved, it offered some great racing and tremendous battles yesterday. Take a look at the starting grid once everyone gets back into their grid position. We've already heard from our pole sitter, Hayden Gillam, Danilo Lewis starting alongside him in second, and then Jason Waters rounding out that front row. Ashton Yates, Isaiah Davis, and Richard Kerr. Going to row number 3, you see Benjamin Smith, Jason Uribe, and Augustin Sierra. And Nolan Lampkin, Emmanuel Aguilar, and Travis Wyman. Going to row 5, it's JC Camacho, Alex Arango, and Anthony Norton. Then Dion Campbell, Bryce Prince, Bobby Davies. Row number 7 with 21 riders here this weekend. It's Manuel Suguera, Steven Shakespeare, and Erwin Ramirez making up those 21 grid positions. This will be a 14-lap race. We could see the wind that is picked up this morning. We haven't dealt with a lot of that this weekend. The mist still in the area. That wind could play a factor. This afternoon, clouds holding strong here. Throughout most of the weekend, we did have a couple moments of sunshine yesterday, but all the riders dealing with the same thing, 69 degrees, 88% humidity. That's gone down a little bit, but you see that wind. It has picked up now to 10 miles an hour. It looks like everyone is in position. See Scott Padgett there with the red flag. As soon as he moves out of the way, that'll signal that we are ready to get ready for racing. You'll see the lights come on in the top left-hand side of your screen. Riders at the ready. Lights out. We are racing for the final time in Stock 1000 2024. Can Hayden Gillim bring it home for a championship? Danilo Lewis had a tremendous start.
Yeah, great start for Danilo Lewis. Going to lead him down into turn 1. Hayden Gillim right where he wants to be there, right in second. I'm sure he'll try to make a move on Danilo early on. Try to do what he did yesterday, get a little breathing room. See him looking up the inside down into turn 3. Really tight to make a pass into there. 3A, B, and C. The run out here, we seen Hayden make the move yesterday into turn 4.
Also a great start for Ashton Yates. He was lined up on the second row and 4th, but you see him right there on the tail end of Hayden Gillim up into 3rd. Wanting to get out and around. Remember yesterday he had the incident with everybody bottled up out there on the racetrack in the opening laps. He was suffered through that and had to claw his way back up inside of the top 10. But for Danilo, starting to pull a gap here on the first lap, just a little bit, head down and full focus.
Yeah, Danilo's did a great job this first lap. You can see there, setting a really good pace. Hayden's going to try to look up the inside right now, but Danilo just isn't leaving him any room. Ashton Yates, a great start. Benjamin Smith, also you can see he's trying to make a move on Richard Kerr early on.
Danilo Lewis continuing to control this one, and he has not been able to get that podium result yet this season. He finished 4th yesterday. He also is coming off of a top 5 finish in the second race back at Laguna Seca, but a little mistake there. It allows Hayden Gillim to get around.
Yeah, it looks like he might have, not sure if it was mechanical, maybe just used a little too much racetrack and had to slow down a little bit, but now it puts Hayden out in front. Ashton Yates there right behind him. Richard Kerr holding strong right there in 3rd.
Hayden said it yesterday that the only thing he wanted to do was get a good start and then be able to keep everybody else behind him. But he had an even better start today, and now with the rest of the field, they can't let him get too far ahead.
Yeah, and those changes Ashton made overnight with his team, looks like they've really, as you see Benjamin Smith making a move on Richard Kerr down into turn 5, able to make it stick. You know, that battle for 2nd and 3rd in the championship. Also, those two guys are 2nd and 3rd there on the track. Looks like Jason's having a little bit more trouble today coming through the pack than he had yesterday. He was able to kind of get through there a little bit quicker.
Definitely didn't have the qualifying position he would have liked for this championship round. Qualifying back on the 3rd row in 8th position. He's got some work to do. As you see the number 78 here of Benjamin Smith. He also started on the 3rd row, but a tremendous start for him as he's just continued to get more and more comfortable as the season's gone on.
Yeah, great for him. That first lap really made a lot of good moves, just as he said on the grid. He wants to make a move on Richard Kerr pretty quickly because he sees Ashton up there looking kind of racy, and Benjamin makes the move down into turn 1. Next person on his list will be Ashton Yates.
Ashton Yates, one of the fellow Honda riders out there with Hayden Gillim. A lot of work being done over the course of this season, both here in Stock 1000 as well as Superbike Cup, just to become more and more familiar with that bike in the second half of the year. Ashton Yates has just been on a tear.
Yeah, he went and raced at Laguna and right there to win the race at Brainerd as well, leading all the way till the last lap. We already talked about what he's did in Superbike Cup as well. See right here, he's a lot more competitive. A lot further up today. Yesterday he kind of had to get in with another rider. He didn't feel like it was his fault, but you see Benjamin Smith right there in 3rd, putting some really good sectors together and definitely closing down these top 2 guys.
Again, this is a 14-lap race. We are currently working lap number 3. Jason Uribe down in 6th place right now. 12 points back in terms of championship points, but with Hayden Gillum continuing to lead, he's not pulling ahead of the rest of the pack the way we've seen it various times throughout this season. He has Ashton Yates right there with him, but
Ashton got a great run out of that last corner and going to be able to put himself up on the inside. Not able to make the move. Hayden's just too strong on the brakes, but I think that's a spot Ashton can look at as this race winds on.
We talk risk versus reward, and the stress of having to win the race has been taken off of the shoulders of Hayden Gillum, but he certainly does not have enough points in hand that he can afford to take too many risks.
No, and I think if Ashton starts making some moves, he'll maybe let Ashton by, and Ashton too is a really good clean racer as well. He knows what's at stake for Hayden Gillum there, and if he's going to make a pass, it's going to be clean.
Take a look at the live championship points as they're running right now. It was 12 points before this race started, but Hayden Gillum with the 25 points at hand right now that would come if he was able to continue to lead this race and ultimately win it. It would come down to a 26-point spread between himself and Jason Uribe, who's still back in sixth.
Yeah, it looks like Jason was able to make the pass into 5 and got himself into 5th. So he's got this 4-rider group in front of him. He's going to have to chase them down, and if he can, this could be huge. If he's able to chase these guys down, able to get through the pack, win, a couple of these guys beat Hayden, you can make up the points.
With Benjamin Smith and Ashton Yates both right there in the picture together, that's 3rd place in the championship standings for Benjamin Smith. They came in tied here. Ashton Yates right there on the tail end of Hayden Gillum, looking to perhaps make a move, take over the lead of this race, but Benjamin Smith doesn't want to give it up because he wants to be able to finish inside the top 3.
And Richard Kerr also right there in 4th, not letting these 3 guys in front of him able to get away. See Ashton trying to look at some spots. It just seems like some parts of the track, Hayden's a little bit better. Other parts of the track, Ashton's a little bit better, just not close enough to make the pass just yet.
Ashton letting Hayden continue to lead around and not pushing him too hard on this lap, not as hard as we have seen the last couple of laps, but he has Benjamin Smith still right there, so he can't afford to make a mistake either, as he wants that 3rd place in the championship.
Hayden's got his head down, red first sector, fastest first sector of the whole race, so you can see what that has done. It's kind of pulled out a couple bike lengths there on Ashton. This is part of the track where we've seen Ashton really strong through turn 10, all the way through this big run down into the last corner. See, Ashton will get this run. This last corner is so fast, but look at the run Ashton is able to get through there.
See the pit board for Ashton Yates, currently sitting in P2, but it is plus nothing as Benjamin Smith is right there. That is the number 94 of Danilo Lewis after having that tremendous start. Now an issue. You also see Nolan Lampkin for the number 21, looking for a strong result to end out this season as well. Both of those riders will be competing later this afternoon in the Superbike Cup Championship as well, so work to be done. Take a look at this replay.
Yeah, you see these 2 riders are both together. I'm not sure what happened. Kind of looked like Danilo might have slowed down a little bit there. You see that looking back, and Nolan had nowhere to go.
Unfortunate for Nolan Lampkin. Indeed, he'll be frustrated with that, but we go back up front, approaching the halfway point of this race, and best time still starting to come in at 22.1 for Hayden Gillum, but Benjamin Smith with the quickest time of this race so far, a 1:21.8. Looking to compare that to what we had yesterday, we're right in line with the same top speeds and the same best laps that we had, so very consistent racing conditions this weekend.
Yeah, it looks like Benjamin and Ashton and also Richard Kerr, those 2 guys are able to go a little bit quicker than they went yesterday early on in this race. That's why they've been able to sit there and hang right on to Hayden. You see Benjamin Smith, he's starting to look for a move by Ashton Yates. Remember, this is for 3rd in the championship between those 2. And yesterday, Benjamin made a pass on Ashton and kind of got together and had some different opinions on how that turned out.
Being told now that incident between Danilo Lewis and Nolan Lampkin, that Danilo aboard that number 94 did have a mechanical issue. And unfortunately, Nolan was just too close to be able to do anything with it. Go back up to Hayden Gillum. starting to build just a little bit of a gap. It's been as close as just 0.02 of a second as we've seen Ashton be able to use the draft, Honda to Honda, to be able to close that gap coming out of the last turn. But halfway point of this race, Roger, how is this second half different?
The second half's different because tire wear. The tires are going to start to fall off a little bit, like right here in that long right-hander. Grip will start going away a little bit, and the bike's going to start moving around a little bit more, and it's going to be crucial for who has the best setup between these four as this race winds down.
It's one of the areas where we saw a lot of strength out of Benjamin Smith yesterday, able to continuing to fight to stay on the podium. It seemed like he was able to push longer.
Bryce Pritz down in 6th was one of the only riders in the 21s the last lap. So back there in 6th, but doing some good lap times. You see Ashton looking like he's going to try to make a move out of the last corner. He knows Benjamin Smith is right there, right behind him. He's in a tough spot. He wants to try to make a move on Hayden, but he doesn't want to leave the door open for Benjamin Smith, able to make the pass.
You see the live championship points now with Jason Uribe. He's been able to move up into 5th, but you look behind him, Ashton Yates in 2nd right now. He would earn 20 points. Benjamin Smith behind him in 3rd would earn 16, and you can see that would give Ashton that 3rd place result.
Last lap, Jason did his best lap of the race as well with the 21.9. So he's doing the same lap times as the leaders, but with the qualifying, just can't make that gap. He's got to find quite a bit, and that makes it really hard. You see the sprinkles on the windscreen there as well, and the camera lens.
Weather has certainly been a factor all weekend. Several of the teams making different strategy calls on when to go out, when to push it, when to try and get a better qualifying position. That's why we've seen a little bit of a shake-up in what we normally see in terms of qualifying, with Jason Uribe being down there on the 3rd row and still fighting for that title. But it gave the opportunity to riders like Danilo Lewis, Jason Waters, Isaiah Davis, Richard Kerr, riders we don't normally see at the front of the field. They were just able to manage the conditions and be out there at the right time to put down the quick laps.
Hayden Gillum in the lead, did his best lap of the race. His race pace has just been incredible this race. Every lap has been within a 10th. Best lap 22.0. Did a 20.2 in the last couple laps. They've all been within a couple tenths. And see Richard Kerr starting to fall off the back of these top 3 just a little bit.
Take a look at this at Benjamin Smith there at the back of this top 3.
Yeah, just in there deep right there, you know, and kind of gets sucked in. You get a little bit of a draft on the big bike down that back straightaway. You're waiting for the person in front of you to brake, and got in a little bit deep, and he's able not to get into Ashton.
You know, one of the impressive things about Benjamin Smith and still being able to hold on to this is the fact that when the season started, he was running this Stock 1000 bike, both here in the Stock 1000 category as well as in the Superbike races and Superbike Cup. But now he has a full-fledged Superbike that he's getting up to speed with. So he is now going bike to bike with a couple of different things that are available to him on this one.
And that's tough as well, especially with you know, Stock 1000 and Superbike. They're kind of almost so similar. It kind of makes it a little bit harder to be able to do that.
Continuing on with our top 3, Jason Uribe sitting 2nd in the championship. You'll see him come up there over the hill. They're sitting in 5th right now. It was going to come down to aggression. He knew that he had to be able to finish not only in front of Hayden, but ultimately with a victory to have any shot, and then Hayden would have to have some sort of an issue. We have 5 laps to go now, and when we got to this point in the race yesterday, this is when things really did start to get exciting.
And Jason's doing everything he can. Last lap was the best lap of the race, 21.7. Just not enough to be able to chase down these leaders with only 5 to go, but you can see he has got his head down now, trying to bridge that gap. You can see him getting a little bit closer into that screen. If these guys start going back and forth, and Dyson's, you see on the camera lens on the shot, the sprinkles could slow these all these guys down a little bit, maybe help him close that gap a little bit quicker.
Hayden Gillum racing with just a completely different mindset over the last couple of seasons. He was able to win 2 titles last year, able to defend and go on to try and lock this one up here in the final race of the season this year. Just the mindset that he has at this point in his career, it allows him to be this laser focused when it's go time.
Yeah, and just the experience he had last year, winning those championships, has really showed off this year. And you know, he's made a couple mistakes this year, but when crunch times come, the last couple races, he's been able to put himself up where he wants to be, collecting the most points.
As these riders are now coming through the tail end of this field, lap traffic will start to come into play with 4 laps remaining. These riders, many of them have been racing all season together through the 5 rounds, now 10 races. A lot of respect between one another, and you look at some of the names of the riders that are back there, they certainly don't want to get in the way of this championship.
No, and they'll have the blue flags and they'll scoot over, but it's part of it. And I think for Hayden being there in the lead, you always kind of want to be the first one to kind of get through there. It seems like it always kind of works out in your favor. Not always, but Hayden, I think, is right where he wants to be.
For Ashton Yates, also aboard the Honda, these laps being able to be this close to Hayden Gillum with all of the experience that he has and the success that he's had on this bike, just being able to figure it out. For Ashton, this is going to also help him going into the offseason.
Yeah, and Jason's making a move down into 4th now, into turn 1. Benjamin Smith's kind of falling off the front 2 guys there a little bit as this race is winding down.
It was a great pass for Jason Uribe, being able to get around Richard Kerr, now putting himself up inside of the top 4. This is where we saw him strong in the first race yesterday, able to come up through the field, be right there to fight for the win. Both Hayden in control of this race. He hasn't had to push anything. He hasn't had to push the pace of it yet.
Yeah, but for Hayden, it's just been his consistency, watching the lap times. 22.0 every lap is either that or 22.1, and you can see what that's kind of starting to do to the field now. As you see, they dropped off Richard Kerr early on. Now Benjamin Smith has dropped off a little bit as well.
Benjamin and Jason Uribe, both of those riders, as well as Bryce Prince, able to dip into the 121 time frame. But with Hayden being in control, he hasn't had to go that low. He hasn't had to push the bike or the tires to get there.
And for Hayden, he's in a good spot right now. It seems like he's kind of getting a little bit stronger as this race has gone on. He's able to maintain the lap times. You see, kind of pulls out a little bit of breathing room on Ashton. All the other riders seems like they're having a little bit of trouble continuing that race pace. Besides Jason Uribe, he's too far back.
The gap between Hayden and Ashton, it opened up to 0.2 of a second the last time across the stripe, but the bigger gap coming, to your point, between Ashton and Benjamin Smith, who continues to fall back just a little bit. But here coming up through is Jason Uribe, continuing to fight to stay inside of the top 4. Jason just wants to get closer to Ben.
At least finish the year strong, try to get a podium. He's doing everything he can right now, doing some really good lap times. He's half a second quicker than Benjamin that last lap. Lap and a half to go. He's going to continue on that pace if he's going to be able to close it down. But look at Ashton now. He's right back on the back of Hayden.
Those 2 riders almost identical lap time. So you talk about the consistency of Hayden. Ashton Yates has been incredibly consistent here over the first 12 laps, as well as we are getting closer and closer to the final lap of this 2024 Stock 1000 championship season. For Hayden Gillum, you can see the focus in his eyes through that clear visor.
Ashton, great run out of the last corner. You can see he's trying to set that up, going to put himself down in the inside. Going to try to make the move on Hayden. He is, but can he keep it?
Final lap.
That's what's so hard about making that pass down into turn 1, is not running wide, and Hayden's got great racecraft. Knowing that, cuts it right back under.
Incredible focus from both of these riders. Ashton is not giving up the chase just yet. You saw him take another look to the inside.
Next place, turn 5, this really fast right-hander through here. He'll try to put himself up on the inside. Hayden's too smart. Look, he goes to the inside, he blocks it, gonna make Ashton go around the long way.
See Hayden with just a little bit of a wheelie there. Look on Ashton's face.
It's a tough place for Ashton. He wants to really make an aggressive pass for the win, but he also knows what's at stake for Hayden. Hayden's really good through this long right-hander. Ashton's really good through this last section, make a little mistake there into turn 9. You see if that's did to Hayden, but we've seen this is Ashton's section right here from turn 10 all the way to the start-finish line. He's going to start ramping it up, see if he can get a good run out of this last corner.
We saw Hayden Gillum be able to make the move yesterday to take home the first race win of the weekend. Can he hold on? It is a double win for Hayden Gillum, our new 2024 Stock 1000 MotoAmerica champion. Congratulations to that entire team, but a tremendous ride for Ashton Yates being able to hold on to second place, and then Jason Uribe getting himself up into that final spot on the podium there on the last lap.
Yeah, for Hayden, just another win with the pressure. He was able to keep doing what he needed to do and put together a great year, but Jason Uribe is going to be a little disappointed with that. Look at the race pace. Look how incredible that is from lap 2 all the way to lap 14, all within a tenth, and that's what Hayden did and put the pressure on the other guys, and great job. But Jason Uribe, great year for him, put up a fight, and he brought it today. Just those first couple laps kind of cost him. Here's how close it was at the line.
That is what less than 0.05 of a second looks like. Look at it in the photo finish. Just huge congratulations to everybody. It all came down to Hayden having the bike that he needed each weekend, even when he wasn't up to the task himself as the rider. He always had something to work with. Congratulations on a great year.
MotoAmerica Stock 1000 coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
And with that win today for Hayden Gillum, now a two-time champion here in the Stock 1000 category, 18 total wins here in Stock 1000, 7 of them coming this year. He had 6 back in 2023, 5 in 2022. Tremendous progression for Hayden as he will get to carry that #1 plate again. But big congratulations also to second place of Ashton Yates, and then Jason Uribe being able to claw himself up from 8th all the way to the podium. Take a look at this celebration burnout, Roger. We just saw this a moment ago.
Yeah, over at turn 3, there's actually a place for these guys, and right there for the crowd. That's what it's all about. That's what when you put the work in, and you know, those stressful moments, this is what it's all about. That's why you do it. You want to come here and celebrate, and you dream about doing these burnouts after winning a championship, and Hayden's able to do that with the year that he put on. Also, hats off to his team as well. You know, there was a couple crashes this year, and they were able to overcome it. Their first year on a Honda, so a lot of tracks were new for them as far as showing up with setup. So not only Hayden did a great job, but his team as well.
It's great to be able to celebrate all of the hard work here at the end of this championship season. 5 rounds, 10 races, tremendously hard-fought battles between all of these riders. But Jason Uribe coming back for the full season. If you would have told him coming into the last race of the season that he would be going still for a championship title, I think he would have been pretty happy with that.
He would have been real happy, and I think it kind of was a bit of a surprise. But Jason, just the year that he's put together, I can't say enough about what he's did this year coming back to MotoAmerica.
2 wins on the year. He's been able to stand on the podium at 7 different times. So it was a great year for Jason Uribe. Certainly a lot of momentum that he can carry into the offseason and into next year as well. This race was nothing short of what we expected, Roger. Here are the highlights.
Yeah, Danilo Lewis again, front row, great start down into turn 1. Hayden Gillum also, good start. Ashton Yates, Richard Kerr. See early on, Ashton, looks like Danilo made a little mistake, or maybe that's when he was starting to have a little bit of bike trouble though. Onto the front straightaway, Hayden takes over. Ashton second, Richard Kerr. See Benjamin Smith about to make a move down in to turn 5. See a lot of passes down into there, and then Hayden and Ashton slowly started pulling away from the rest of the group as this race went on. You see Jason Uribe working his way, closing down the lead to the guys in front of him, but just starting to run out of laps. Hayden, look at Ashton last lap, turn 1. Tried to take a shot. You have to at that point, but Hayden knew to cut back under. Hayden didn't put a wheel wrong that last lap. Ashton tried to get a run to the flag. Jason Uribe gonna steal that last podium spot on the run to the flag.
Take a look at the results from the second and final race here at New Jersey Motorsports Park for Stock 1000. That win, of course, going to Hayden Gillum. That's how close it was. 0.04 of a second between himself and Ashton Yates, and then Jason Uribe. Great battle back there on that last lap to get around Benjamin Smith and round out our top three. And with that win today for Hayden Gillum, his 7th one of the season, 8 podium finishes that Hayden Gillum has been able to accumulate over the course of this 10-race championship. We'll go in with that #1 plate coming back next year. The spread over himself and Jason Uribe, 21 points. Jason, congratulations on that 2nd place. And then Ashton Yates here this weekend with the podiums that he's been able to string together, along with that win earlier at Laguna Seca. Ashton now inside of the top 3. Let's go ahead and hear from these riders, and we'll sit it down to Joe.
Thank you, Jamie. Well, I am with Hayden Gillum, the 2024 Stock 1000 champion, retaining your title. You battled hand injury, you rode through the pain, and you did a double this weekend. How much did this one mean to you?
It means a lot. We haven't had a weekend like this since Barber. Had a couple crashes and made it a lot harder on ourselves. Jason was making us work for it. Ashton was really getting it going here at the end, and it's cool to have Honda 1-2 and wrap up the championship for the Real Steel Southern Honda Power Sports team. And yeah, it's cool to have the family and everybody here and all the fans, and thanks for sticking it out in the weather.
You said you wanted to get a good start today. You got a great start. You led almost the entire race. How did it feel riding out in front, knowing what was at stake?
I'd rather do that than have to chase, for sure. So it was good. They were making me work for it though. Every lap showing me a wheel going into one, and I was just braking as late as I felt I could. And that last lap, Ashton got in there. I was in late and he was in deeper, and it was just it was a fun race. I really enjoyed that one.
Well, you do have a #1 plate from last year, but we're going to give you your 2024 #1 plate. Well, let's take it over to Ashton Yates. 2nd place today. Well, Ashton, fantastic racing out there. You only needed to come in front of Ben Smith to take 3rd in the standings, but you really went for that win today, didn't you?
Yeah, everything was working great today. It was pretty awesome. We found something this morning, I think helped out a little bit with that. And went with the right tire choice today and no mistakes. And my plan was to just kind of get in there behind Hayden and see what his pace was. And I think I actually had a little bit of pace on him, but wasn't really trying to make any crazy moves out there. But at the end, I figured I'd go for it at least once and see what happened, but couldn't make it stick. But I'm pretty stoked for my team and Honda and my family, everybody here. And I can't thank Jones Honda guys enough, and HJC, Speedy, all my personal sponsors, and just everybody that's helped out this year.
Fantastic riding and a fantastic season, Ashton Yates. Well, let's round out your podium with Jason Uribe, who finished also 2nd in the standings for 2024. Jason, what racing we've seen from you this weekend. 8th on the grid, and both days you've ended up on the podium. How have you done it?
Honestly, I just tried my best to put my head down. I knew that I had a good bike underneath me. I felt like I really struggled in the first few laps. I just wasn't able to quite get the power down the way I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I just said to myself, I have nothing to lose. Just freaking go for it. So here we are. I'm happy to be on the podium. Huge shout out to all the Orange Cat crew, everybody here. Andrew, Nick, Ryan, Dave, Rick, and Chris, Amber, my father, everyone. Thank you guys so much for the wonderful year. And I'm just happy to be in one piece. Happy to bring home P2. And yeah, looking forward to next year.
Indeed, what a year next year, I'm sure. Congratulations to all of our Stock 1000 Race 2 podium.
What a tremendous season we've had here in the Stock 1000 Championship. Big congratulations again to Hayden Gillum on defense of that title, Roger. He was able to defend it, bring it home, and we'll see a #1 plate again next year.
Yeah, and it's great to see Honda competitive in Stock 1000 again this year. Those guys going 1st and 2nd. And Hayden and his team did a great job. He mentioned that he made it a little bit harder than it needed to be, and Jason kept the pressure on him. Ashton was riding really good at the end of the year, and you know, I like what Ashton said. He didn't want to do anything crazy, but he has to, you know, even though Hayden's going for the title, he has to take a shot. He owes that to his crew. He made it clean, wasn't able to make it stick, and Jason Uribe, great year.
Such great racecraft and respect between all of these riders, especially here at the top of the board. For Jason Uribe, being able to be there and be consistent and continuing with that entire team to get him back up to speed. I can't wait to see what happens next year.
Yeah, I can't wait either. You just got to think being out in MotoAmerica for a while and then coming back, and you know, it's a different ball game, and to be able to get by and get that intensity, and he has the speed. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The qualifying this weekend kind of hurt with the weather, but the year they've had has been pretty impressive, and I hope to see him back.
That was great to see Jason Uribe help him with Hayden's hands being full right now. Big smiles, big congratulations. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.